Hi there guys, welcome back to the wild wonders of Southern Africa. My name is Liaan, Lategan, and if you don't know my channel by now, click on that subscribe button. So today I'm in Johannesburg and I'm meeting a really awesome guy. He is the equivalent of what Steve Irwin was to the world, and he's coming up through the ranks, and he is an advocate for all wildlife, but especially reptiles here in Southern Africa. And I want to introduce you guys to an awesome guy and an awesome channel. I'll put a link down below to his channel, but have a look at this guy. Welcome, Bryce.
Thank you so much, and especially for those awesome words you've just said about me.
You deserve it.
Thank you.
Guys, have a look at his channel and have a look at some of his latest, but also older videos. There you can see him and all of his adventures where he tackles crocodiles and snakes, and he's even done a venomous handling course. I've done it, but I must say I was really scared when I did it. And after that, I sort of thought, nah, I can handle any snake now, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But Bryce is doing it in the right way. He is advocating why people should or should not keep exotic pets, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So Bryce, what are your thoughts about the reptile trade in Southern Africa, and what are your views about should people keep them or should people not keep them?
I think the reptile industry is a really good industry to be in, but to get in it the right way. So not going and buying wild caught animals, because I don't believe in that. Right now we have hundreds of different breeders that breed quality captive bred animals that will just thrive a lot better in our climate, because they'll be acclimatized to where they were bred, and that's just a lot healthier to buy those animals. And you are also like creating an assurance colony if something were to like drastically change in the wild.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many countries in the world where they don't really care about their natural environment anymore. Look at South America, for instance. The local forestry industry there is desecrating. It's really demolishing all of the beautiful natural environments that they have there. And what's happening is we're losing thousands and thousands of beautiful species. Now the exotic pet trade, if it's done the right way, are helping to keep some of these species safe until we can get pockets of these natural environments where these animals can be then reintroduced, because a lot of our exotic species, their instinct is there. They will be able to rehabilitate themselves there quite easily.
Like one thing I visited a few years ago was a crocodile farm, and yes, crocodile farms aren't the greatest thing, but they're actually fantastic for keeping wild crocodiles alive, because then people don't poach them from the wild, because they can buy bred in captivity animals that are cheaper and they don't have to do it illegally. So one of the things was this farm actually supplied a few Nile crocodiles to a game farm, and while they were introduced they instantly became wild, and they were hunting by themselves, thriving, and they didn't have any rehabilitation issues whatsoever. They just are breeding now and thriving in the wild because of these croc farms that are breeding them in captivity.
And just a word on those crocodiles, guys. I don't know if you knew this, but in Southern Africa there was actually a massive natural disaster where in the university where I studied, they realized that quite a lot of the mines in and around the Highveld, we're now in the Highveld, they have released a lot of their heavy metals down into the river systems. So what happened was these heavy metals found their way down into places like Kruger National Park and some nature reserves in KwaZulu-Natal. And some crocodile experts started seeing crocodiles dying out in large numbers, and no one knew why, until they realized that their main food source, fish, actually started to trap a lot of these heavy metals in their gills and in their bodies. So what happened when these crocodiles then started feeding on these fish? The heavy metals had a chemical reaction with the fat reserves stored in their tails and in their bodies, and it solidified the fat. And what happened then was these crocodiles couldn't swim properly and they drowned. So like Bryce said, some of these crocodile farms that are keeping these animals in quarantine areas away from these pollutions are saving them. Even though we know that it's not always the right conditions, it is good for a greater future purpose.
For sure. I mean, like, the crocodiles that were dying was like mass numbers, not just 10 or 3, it was by the hundreds. It wasn't a good thing at all.
Exactly, and that then had a spiral effect on the natural ecosystem. You know, if you take a predator out, your prey item's gonna go through the roof, and that's exactly what happened. And the rivers started to see that impact, but also the surrounding habitat. But anyway, Bryce, let's talk about, why do you think it's good that people still keep reptiles, arachnids, and some exotic animals in South Africa?
I think it's good because it creates a love and a passion for these animals from other people that would generally hate them. I've had a few friends that have hated snakes and then ended up falling in love with them and purchasing their own snakes because of this. So I really do think it changes everyone's perspective, and therefore helping the wild environment by people not killing these snakes,
Exactly.
not trying to throw poison around, and it's just being conservative about our natural history.
Exactly. So guys, when we find snakes in our gardens or anywhere near our workplace, please do not kill the snakes. They are there because of your actions. If you leave food around, that's going to attract a lot of mice or rodents, and that in turn will attract these predators that will eat them. So if you find a snake and you don't know what species it is, phone your local snake handler or catcher. I will have a link down below for one in the Johannesburg and Pretoria area, and Bryce will also comment in the section down below to others that he knows.
Yeah.
And Bryce is actually a snake handler and catcher as well. So if you're in the Johannesburg area, hook him up. He'll leave his email address as well, or his phone number as well. And then you can get Bryce out and he will safely relocate that snake into a natural environment. It is so important. And guys, also please, we advocate snakes and reptiles and spiders that are bred in captivity. If you get one, please do not release it back into the wild. Our natural environment may not be suitable for them. There's a whole lot of examples where these reptiles have gotten loose, especially if you look at Florida and the United States. There's a lot of pythons there that have gone into the Everglades, and they've got a very big impact there as well.
Yes. For instance, there are even our Nile crocodiles in the Florida ecosystem there, which is quite sad because it's killing all their natural wildlife, and it's competing slowly but surely with their alligators and their crocodiles that they have there too. I think it's the Cuban croc that they have.
Yeah.
No, American crocodile. I'm not
Either way,
100%
the
sure.
Nile crocodile is much bigger, much stronger, and more aggressive by nature. So please guys, do not release any exotic pets in your ecosystem. Even little fish species, guys, guppies and your goldfish, if you release them into our river systems, they will outcompete the other species really quickly. So don't do it.
For sure, it's very important to conserve our natural environment around us. And remember, when you're purchasing your snake, please make sure this is the right decision. You've done your research. I mean, tons and tons of research. Don't just read one blog or one article post about the certain species. Go around and find different people's views about the certain species, because each species has different ways you can care for it that it thrives, and then eventually you'll find your own way to care for it. And these are also lifelong animals. Generally they'll live 20 plus years if cared for correctly. So don't just go in and buy a snake for the sake of it.
Exactly. Tarantulas and snakes live long, and if you're already like me in your 30s, they might outlive you. So make sure you are taking this seriously. Now both myself and Bryce will have a lot of video material coming up on our channels how to properly care for these animals. So if you want to do it the right way, keep on looking at our channels. But guys, that's it from us for today. I hope you guys found this interesting. Do yourself a favor, subscribe to Bryce here. I will leave a link down below. His channel is amazing, and like I said, he's the equivalent of Crocodile Dundee and all those amazing guys. So have a look at his channel, guys. I do promise you he will entertain you. So have a fantastic week. See you next Monday. Bye for now.